23, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Kentucky gubernatorial election that is set to take place in November of this year. It's one of just three governor's races that is supposed to happen in this set of 4 years. So, with that, this one is the most competitive one of the cycle of the three governor races there are. And coming into it, we have a Democratic incumbent in Andy Besar. Now, Kentucky is very much a red state. You look back at all the recent presidential elections, Donald Trump won this state by nearly 26 points in 2020. 2016, he won it by almost 30. 2012, Mitt Romney won it by over 22. And even in the blue wave year, in 2008, McCain still won the state by 16 points. 2004, Bush won big. 2000, Bush won big. This has been a safe red state for these last several election cycles, and that is not set to change here anytime soon. But that being said, Kentucky is has a blue governor, or Democratic governor, and this is a United States governor's map. And it kind of goes to show that states such as Vermont and New Hampshire, Democratic-leaning states, have Republican governors. Kansas, very similarly to Kentucky, very much a red state that has a Democratic governor. Virginia, it's a Democratic-leaning state that has a Republican governor. It kind of goes to show that these governor races are not as much about the national mood, but more about who's popular in each individual state. And that's kind of what we have here in 2023. Because looking back into 2019, Andy Besar was able to in-seat Republican Governor Matt Bevin. Matt Bevin was very unpopular with some of his policies in Kentucky, which is what led to his defeat. It was a very narrow win for Besar, winning by only 0.4 points. But he is quite popular in Kentucky, and he could totally win again. You look at some of the candidates that he's up against, like he's already declared, a couple other Democrats have declared too, but they're not looking to win at all. But the Republicans, they've had several candidates declare here in Kentucky. You have some of the more notable names: Daniel Cameron, the Attorney General of Kentucky, which is obviously one of the highest up statewide elected spots, just under the governor. You got Kelly Craft, a former U.S. ambassador during the Trump administration. Then you got Mike Harmon, the state auditor. You got Ryan Quarles, the Kentucky Commissioner of Agriculture. Those are four of the more notable names that have declared here in Kentucky to challenge Besar in the general election. But one thing that makes Cameron stand out of the bunch is that Donald Trump has endorsed him, the former president. And we've seen that Trump's endorsements can make or break certain races. You look at the polls, Besar is winning a lot of these polls comfortably. I just talked about Kraft, Quarles, and Harmon. Besar is crushing them in the polls. But against Cameron, who is Trump endorsed, Besar still has a lead, but it's by 9 points. So that kind of goes to show that Cameron is definitely the best candidate here, but Besar still has the upper hand. But by no means is this a lock for Besar and the Democrats to win it. Looking at it, Cameron is definitely the favorite of the four that have ran. Looking at the polling for the Republican primary here, you got Daniel Cameron, who's almost at 45% of all the votes here, where the next best candidate is Kraft, and she doesn't even have 15%, so it is a wide gap here in favor of Cameron. And you can see he's winning all the polls big. No one's even coming close to him. And the major prediction sources, major political sources that are predicting these elections, they are characterizing it as a lean Democratic, which, so yes, it is a close one. It's a competitive one, but right now they're giving the edge to Bisar. You want to take a look back at some of the past governor elections in Kentucky. In 2019, Bisar, as I showed you recently, he was able to unseat Bevin, who was unpopular. You got to go back to 2013 here. Actually, not 2013. Can't do math. 2015. There we go. Bevin only won the state by 8 points, despite how much of a Republican the state this was, with people like McCain, Bush, Romney, Trump winning the state by a lot more than just 8 points. You go back to 2011, it was a solid blue seat. Bisar's father, I can't remember what his name is. Andy Bisar, his father is, as I'm going through, Steve Bisar. He was the governor for Kentucky, and he was very popular. He won his re-election bid by 20 points, despite how red the state was, and how the next year after this, they voted for Mitt Romney by 22 points. 2007, Andy Bisar was also popular then. So that name definitely has been big for Kentucky, which can totally help in 2023 for them. You see, these are the same polls that were shown over on 538 here, as this is easily the most competitive governor race of the 2023 cycle, as Louisiana and Mississippi are looking to be Republican races, although they are also competitive. I'll make videos on them as well. But one thing that also works in the Republicans' favor is how partisanship has grown within the country these past several years. It could be the type of thing where the Republicans will just come out in force in Kentucky and vote for a Republican regardless of who it is. So it's definitely an interesting race, the most competitive one for sure of this cycle, and that pretty much sums it up to where we are at with it. Thank you all very much for watching. This is Rust Belt Perspective signing out.